Grant Denyer now.
It's Grant Denyer.
The gold lady this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Denyer.
And our mum, Chezzi Denyer. She's really crazy. And
George,
affectionately known
as Large Sarge. It's all true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Chezzi Denyer.
and
George.
Do you think that other people dance to their own intros?
Yes, I think anybody who has a podcast and has an intro as good as that legally should be able and more than welcome to dance along to it. And I think our listeners do too. I think a lot of people say to me that on Fridays when the podcast comes out, it lets them know that it's time for the weekend. You know what I mean? Like people associate that intro with it's weekend time, let's rip in and have fun with the Denyers.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, it's been a big week here in the Denyer household. We are down one co-host because he's off doing lots and lots of things this week. And we've had the huge announcement that Grant is coming back to our screens every weeknight.
Oh, so it's every single weeknight, Chezzi.
Every single weeknight. Woohoo! Yep.
It's
6
massive
p.m.
news.
Huge news. So
Has your phone just been blowing up all day today? Because the announcement was made today as we record this podcast.
yes, correct. So we've been sitting on this very exciting news for a little while now, and the response has been huge. So I have roped Grant in to chatting with us so that he can give us a little bit more detail. So let's see if I can work out how to.
So has he decided, he's back into TV, so he's ditching the podcast now, or what's the go?
Wow, we'll have to ask him, won't we? Hold on one
All the
second.
questions. We'll hopefully find out.
He can't ditch the podcast. God, the podcast is number one.
It's the best pay.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Is that Grant Denyer?
Yes. Did you say Larry Emder?
Oh, my God, we're back to heat stroke territory.
Oh, God, this is too hot. Yeah, hi, guys. It feels weird being called by your own podcast. A bit odd. Are you guys cheating behind my back?
We are. We're recording without you.
Podcast cheating. Can I please hold the cases, GD?
Oh, how good would that be, mate? Just those glowing, golden, full of cash goodnesses.
Yeah.
We have just mentioned that the announcement has been made today that you're coming back. So give us some more details. Firstly, George wants to know, with you back on TV 5 nights a week, are you ditching the podcast?
Oh, hell no, bro. That's my number one priority is this potty, as we all know. I put in a lot of effort, a lot of research, a lot of pre-organisation of guests and topics, and that ain't ever going to change no matter how famous I get. Which is going to be a lot more famous now that the deal or whatever it's called is coming up.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not common knowledge, but people don't know this, but this podcast pays incredibly well. We're on millions.
Yeah, exactly. We pretty much just drive around in golden Bentley. That's how rewarding and lucrative the podcast game is. No, thanks for calling me. Big news. I've just walked out of the Channel 10, what they call upfronts, which is where they pitch all next year's 2024 shows to the advertisers and the media for the year. So a lot of buzz for Deal or No Deal coming back, which is nice. So I think a lot of people kind of remember, the format. It had, I think it was on for 10 or 11 years in Australia previously. So it's in 356 countries around the world. So it's nice to be the one that brings it back here. Yeah.
356 countries.
Yeah. It's one of the most successful, close to the most successful television format ever.
I had no idea. What's the most successful then?
I think the Brady Bunch, probably. I don't know.
Oh. That is impressive, right? So you've got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's huge in the States, naturally. That's where Meghan Markle got her start. So
Yes.
You never know, Shez. Do you want me to make you a dealette, and then maybe you might be able to marry a prince?
I have married a prince. Oh, no, I don't need to be opening up suitcases of money. How much money are you giving away?
Yeah, give us the goss.
Big coin. I think
Bitcoin.
$250,000. No, not in Bitcoin.
$200,000. Wow.
250, I think, and there's like a car that can be won every night as well. So as well as the 250,000. So it's a cool format because it's really, it's high suspense, it's huge stakes, big risk, but an enormous reward. If you can hold your nerve. So it's kind of, and look, I love personally being a guy who gives away large amounts of money to people who need it and deserve it. That's probably one of the best feelings in the world. So it's nice to be back.
And can anyone play? Not saying myself, but can anybody play, or do you have to have a certain skill set?
No. The good thing about this, you don't even need to be smart, which I think is why I'm hosting it. It's a high stakes, game of chance or a guessing game, really, where you have to just try and outplay the banker, right? So it's not like you need to know incredible bits of information about obscure places in the world, or it's not like you need to know much about science or mathematics. It's not general knowledge. It's just how game and brave, are you prepared to be? If you come in, usually what happens is people come in with a goal going, right, I would ideally love to win $50,000 because I want to deposit on a home, or I want to buy a new car, and then they could leave with, $250,000, or they could leave with 50 cents. But at least everyone comes in with nothing, but everyone leaves with something. So that's a pretty cool thing.
That is so great in this climate. Who doesn't need money? That's really, really cool. I'm so happy.
Well, you think about it, right? It's a high cost of living right now. Everything's expensive. Your rent's expensive, your food's expensive, the insurance, cars, running them, petrol, you name it, right? So 5 nights a week, we're just sort of giving out large wads of cash and having a little bit of fun. And plus, if you don't want to watch the news at 6 o'clock, maybe you've got a family, and the news can be a pretty dark old, scary, horrible place. If you want to have something fun on, while in the lounge room while you're sort of getting dinner ready and you got all the kids around, it's a safe thing to have on that you can kind of just scream at the telly and call out, golden case numbers and have some fun.
A lot of people come here for the behind-the-scenes goss and behind-the-TV magic. How hectic is the filming schedule, GD?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun. We film about 15 episodes in about 72 hours. So we pump them out.
Oh
but it's good. You're getting a rhythm and it's fun, right? It's high vibe. It's good energy. It's not like it's a horrible show, that's sad or depressing. It's good. It's good energy and you're just making people's lives. Like if they come on the show and you send them out with their pockets bulging and their lives changed, it's quite seriously a real privilege. It's really bloody fun, and it feels good doing it. So it's one of the great gigs of Delhi, that's for sure.
I'm so proud of you. When will we see it start on air?
I think it's not confirmed yet, but it should be around February. I reckon it'll be firing up, and then it will be that sort of 5 nights a week at 6 o'clock. So I know there's a lot of people who sort of listen to this podcast, and hopefully, they like the shows that we're on, and I'm genuinely really excited. I got those little butterflies in your tummy, like you've just fallen in love, and it feels all good and exciting and new. So I haven't fallen in love, just so you know, Chez. So that's good. I'm still committed to this marriage. But it's like that. The feeling is similar, not as good.
Yeah,
similar.
Well, that's beautiful. Well,
Congratulations. This is so exciting.
It is exciting. There's a real buzz around. So, yeah, well done. You're the perfect person to host it. We're very proud of you. And back on Channel 10, giving everyone an alternative to the news. And at the moment, the news is always quite depressing. But at the moment especially, I feel after watching the news last night that,
heavy. It's really heavy going, isn't it? It's not for everyone, right? Life's hard enough to sort of add that into your household. night in, night out. So yeah, we're the little fun island where you can come and have a giggle, have some laughs, and it's a safe space for families, which is cool. Hey, I hope I'm not the only person on this podcast. Is that all we're talking about? Because otherwise, it's pretty shit. What else we got?
We've got Robert Irwin on next.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just hanging out with Robert Irwin. God, he's
that's
such a
so
cutie.
cool. He's on TV.
Yeah, that's another big announcement.
Yeah, he's going to co-host I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here with Julia Morris. He's so nice. Oh, my God. I don't think I've ever met a nicer person in this world other than George.
Yeah.
He's just so polite and sweet and excited and enthusiastic. Yeah, he's cute.
It's a bit of a interesting combination, I must admit, when I saw the announcement. Like, I love Robert Irwin. I just wondered how that whole dynamic will work.
Yeah, it is unusual. They're trying something different. There's obviously, she's vastly experienced and he's brand new. It's his kind of first hosting gig, really. But I don't know, there's a sweetness in him and a youthful exuberance that is just, you can feel it, right? You just feel his appreciation for the opportunity. He's genuinely really enthusiastic. So you kind of watch him and you get excited because he's excited. So I kind of, it's an unusual choice because he's not experienced and it's a big gig to host. It's a big show. It's a lot of hours. It's pretty crazy. But I like it.
Yeah, I think he'll do really, really well. I think
he'll be great.
Yeah, he's very natural is one thing that I've always thought whenever I've spoken to him.
He's getting more and more like his dad. Like when you talk to him, you just hear it all the way through him, which is, really gorgeous, really sweet. Oh, and Robert meant to say, George, that Bindi said into love, which I thought was really lovely.
I was about to ask, is there any way I can shoehorn myself into that scenario? But I'm glad that she's thinking of me. I'm always thinking of her, so it's nice that I've finally got reciprocation.
Do you know what I just realised? You look a little bit like her fiance, Chandler.
That's interesting.
Me or Grant?
No, George, you. I'm looking at you.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean...
Do you think that?
No, not really. No, I'm not a wakeboarding surfer with brown eyes, but I appreciate that. But I'm very happy now. Obviously got my fiance and things are good.
Hey, bro. Look, I know you're happily married, now, or to be. You got your fiance, but look, if that doesn't work out, all you got to do, brother, is just push that Chandler straight into a crocodile enclosure at Australia Zoo, and you're good to go. You're first line. You're first up, first reserve.
Oh, that's nice to know. That's really comforting to know. I will not be showing this episode to Carly.
Look, I don't endorse murder, but I'm just thinking out loud. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Carly might head off with Robert Irwin, so it might be.
She does love Robert Irwin. Yeah. Bit of a swapsy.
He is so, he reminds me so much of Steve. Yeah.
Yeah. He's good. He's a really, he's a gorgeous young man. So I really wish him well.
Any other big announcements at the upfronts? I'm sure by the time this comes out on Friday, because we're recording on a Tuesday, that it will all be out there. But who else did you talk to?
Top Gear Australia's coming back, which is that's interesting.
Oh,
interesting that being the only actual racer at Channel 10 that I didn't get the gig. But anyway,
well, who have they got hosting that? A race car driver?
No, they've got Bo Ryan, which will be his third show on the network because he does obviously The Amazing Race. He does Gladiators, which is new. It's coming back. And Jonathan LaPaglia is the other host.
From Survivor?
From Survivor, and a guy from a YouTube channel called Mighty Car Mod, which is they're huge online. They just had 1 billion downloads, 1 billion views. Sorry.
So he's the only one with car experience. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It is interesting. Yeah.
Any other announcements?
Not that I give a shit about. No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, only
Okay.
joking.
No, we are super happy. Deal or no deal, it's really big news.
All the tense comedy stuff's coming back. Like Thank God You're Here. Have you been paying attention? I think Inspired Unemployed. So there's a good comedy palette across 10, and also it's Paramount Plus streaming platform. So there's lots of fun new stuff.
So next year is going to be a big year for free-to-air TV because, let's face it, a lot of people don't watch free-to-air TV anymore. They watch the streaming services, or they work late, so they often will play catch-up, and then for a long time there hasn't really been lots to watch that is hugely desirable. So, but it sounds like they're trying to bring people back. So, starting at 6 p.m. on Channel 10.
Yeah, something like 11 million people watch across the streaming platforms just on the Channel 10 stuff. So that's kind of how it's going now, yeah. Yeah, thanks for the chat, guys. It was really weird being interviewed by you both.
It was really weird.
It felt weird for us too.
I know, it feels strange. Anyway.
GD back on the TV, though, that doesn't feel weird.
No, that doesn't feel weird.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Feels right. You're so right, brother.
Lots of really super positive feedback. So there's lots of very, very happy people.
Hey, guys, can you piss off? My club sandwich has just arrived in my hotel room.
Oh,
okay,
yum.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for joining the It's All True podcast.
We'll pay you later.
Yeah, bye. Let's dump him, George.
Well, I've never heard the sound effects on the other end. That's so awesome.
Does it feel weird?
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it now. I know how good it feels for when you're on the phone. So, yeah. Hey, big fan of the
going
podcast,
crazy.
guys. Keep up the good work. Yeah, thanks. I once saw a Yowie chasing a UFO with a medium catching up.
Go away. You're taking the mickey out of us now.
Bye.
Bye.
Leave a rating and review. Thank you.
I forgot to say
that was so
weird.
cool.
That was weird. Yeah, really, really exciting. So I'm really happy because he wasn't on TV for a long time, and everybody used to say, when's he coming back to TV? And it was just that TV's a funny world. I think personally that he's the best on TV, but I'm biased. And what happens when you are really good at something is that you often get pegged to host the shows that are hard to host because he's such a unique talent. So he often would be offered positions that he didn't want to do because, when you're away from family and you have to work hard, you want to be doing things that bring you joy, that spark joy. And I think that hopefully this is going to, make him feel fulfilled, and he's very good at it. So
yeah, and I think for so many seasons, a real reoccurring topic on the podcast for all of us, but in particular GD, was trying to find that sense of I guess identity and belonging since he wasn't in the TV game for a little while. And to have him back on the screens is just so exciting. And I bet it did feel like a very, very long time between gigs. But I think now that it's happening again, he's back on the TV, it feels like he was on it just yesterday, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. It's bizarre. Yeah. It's been, when did Family Feud finish? 2018.
So about 5 years between gigs. And I mean, there's been things here and there.
Yeah, he's had other little bits and pieces, but not doing, a game show or a show of this significance, because if he can bring people back to that time slot and back to, Channel 10, that's a really big deal. And at the moment,
no deal.
Or no deal. At the moment, news every night in TV ratings talk, news is the number one program. So people tune in often to watch the the nightly news, and then they head to their streaming services. So, yeah, this will give an alternative.
It's very exciting. I can't wait. I'm super pumped for it. Shall we jump into some reviews for this very podcast?
Yes,
I'm going to kick off with one from SSD111. Great username, very original. Might add, though, this was done on the 31st of August. So that's a little while ago. So if you...
reviews since then.
No, we have not, apart from the other two that I've given you. So please bring them in. We'd love to hear from you. This one's titled Love. Best podcast I've ever heard. I can't get enough, which is really nice.
Oh, that is nice. Now I've got Love It from KC Siege, maybe. I've just started listening to podcasts as a good friend suggested it would be good. Anyway, I saw a post on Instagram, decided to check this one out. I'm so glad that I did. Chezzi, I've just listened to the last 3 and I love them. I'm 39, a single mum of an amazing, beautiful 2.5-year-old boy, and can relate to so many things you've discussed. I look forward to listening to all episodes. Thank you.
Yeah, that was that period of time where you were just the host for like a month. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
And this is the most recent one, actually, 28th of September. So there's still about a month between then and now. This is cool, Ferret302. We've got a listener who's a ferret, Chezzi. Greatest podcast in Oz. 5 stars. This is a great pod in Oz. Warts and all, look at life. Kids generally a laugh and serious look into Aussie life, from addiction to jizz-eye. GD and Chezzi tell it how it is. And that review really does sum it up. It doesn't make sense, and this podcast doesn't make sense sometimes.
Yeah, I know, because you can't pigeonhole us at all because we cover off so many different topics. Yeah, okay, well, launching into today's topic, I just thought that we'd catch up on what's been happening in the last couple of weeks. I saw that you went down to the radio awards, George, and you looked all dressed up.
Yeah, went to the ICC in Sydney. Beautiful place to hold a big, bold function called the Australian Commercial Radio Awards. That was really good fun. Carly was able to come along as well, and that was her first ever red carpet event, which was really, really cool. And yeah, we caught up, and everybody who is in radio and everybody who is in sort of that podcasting space was there. So there were a lot of people that we both looked up to and a lot of catching up, and it was pretty cool. This year it was a joint network after party, which I think was a similar deal for the Logies this year. So that was really nice to actually be all in the same room as your rivals, I guess. I got nominated for the best music presenter. Didn't come home with a gong, but still cool to be a finalist and be there. And
that's huge.
Really huge. It was great fun, really good fun, and just good to be amongst your colleagues. I think for a regional radio announcer like myself, there's not too many other announcers in my market, in which is Central Queensland, Rockhampton. You start to get more announcers in the actual building as you get into the more metro stations, like your Sydneys and your Brisbane and Melbourne. So it's a moment where you get to kind of hang out with your proper colleagues rather than salespeople. Did you network? Who did you? I networked.
Yeah, okay. Well, give us some goss.
Well, oh gosh, I don't think I can give anything that is even interesting for on air, but all I will say is that it's a good opportunity, to speak to your big bosses and tell them, hey, this is exactly what I would like. This is where I would like to go in my career. Just share a great love of the industry with very like-minded people. So, completely out of place going to a pink carpet and hanging around all of these celebs, but it was a fun thing to do.
Did you introduce yourself to some big people, like some big names? Did you go up and say, hey, I'm George, you might have heard me on the It's All True podcast?
Well, I was in this mode of just going up to abs. It was weird, Chezzy, because I'd be smiling and waving at all these people who I listen to all the time. So your Fitzies and your Whippers and your Kate, Tim, and Joels and all those guys. Mentioning people on the Nova Network, obviously, because they are the people we are with. But so I'm sitting there like a fool, waving and smiling, and I'm like a kid in the candy store because I feel like I know them, and they're looking at me going, "Who the hell are you?" So yeah, but gosh, Jackie O went and chat to her. Everybody you can think of that's in radio, I went up and said something to, and they were probably just like, whatever, this is a little regional dude, but hey, we're all equals at the end of the day, right? We're all in the same industry, and we're all people, and it was cool. It was really good fun.
What did you say when you went up to Jackie O? What did you say? Because I can imagine.
Well, I mean,
I know both of you, and I can imagine she would be quite, she's enjoying a night, and I know you would be quite nervous. So
yeah, well, look, funnily enough, I wasn't nervous. I just sort of was like, "Hey, Jackie, how you going? Huge fan of your work." And he's like, "Oh, hey, thank you so much." And like, "Oh, I'm Sarge. I'm from the other network kind of thing." And, "Oh, lovely to meet you. Have a good night." Like, it was just very casual and nothing too deep. But yeah, I said that I'd come to the table with some goss, but to be honest, it was a very there wasn't anything too crazy that I know of that went down at these acras. Because I went to the ones in 2019, and I did go into bathrooms where it was full of what could only be described as a scene from Frozen. But there was none of that this year. So times are changing when it comes to the acras.
Right. Yeah, right. So it was nice and
PG.
It looked, just from the photos, I mean, I've only been to one acras, and I thought I was blown away by how crazy it was. And I do remember that we mentioned on the podcast, people kept saying, this is nothing on what I bet the Logies is. And the Logies is pretty straight. It's pretty it's a pretty boring, night, which the Acras wasn't. There was people who were so drunk they were falling over themselves, and I was surprised by how loose radio people get on their night of nights. So
yeah. And I think TV and radio has definitely changed a lot when you compare it to back in the day. There's a icon when it comes to radio, and some of the listeners won't be aware, but his name's Doug Mulray. He passed away, a legend of the radio industry. But some of the stories that you hear about him back in the day in the studios, not relating to him, but there's one story of like the panel, the desk with all the buttons and the faders and stuff in the radio station, got jammed up one day. And I'm not going to disclose what station or where this was or who it was, but there was this panel that got jammed up, so they couldn't put the faders up and whatnot, so nothing could go to air. But it was jammed because there were packets of cocaine stored in this sound desk.
What?
Yeah, they were stashing drugs in the sound desk.
What the hell? What a stupid place. Because,
I mean, no one would expect it, right?
That's so random. So how did you find out about that story?
It's like the Bible, stories passed down through generations.
Yeah, right. So it could be slightly exaggerated.
Potentially, but I mean, if it's true, that's pretty wild.
Story. It's a juicy story, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, I think just the change that I've seen in TV, I don't know radio as well, but yeah, the change that I've seen in TV over the years is that since COVID and even slightly before COVID, there's not as many advertisers, there's not as many people, I guess, listening to radio because there's so much more competition, where we are competition to radio shows. So during the times that people would listen to a radio show or watch their TV show, now they're going to streaming services or they're listening to podcasts or audiobooks or, there's just so much choice. So, so people are a lot fussier and, rightly so.
Exactly.
So
Should we
I guess,
make mention? Should we make mention that this is probably our third or fourth attempt to record this very episode today?
yes, it is. It is.
And that's because you've been living. I mean, you've always had a very busy life, but it's been extra busy lately. Do you want to let us know what's been going on?
How I don't even know where the past week has gone. It's just vanished. So the day that we were supposed to be recording this episode, I got some news from the doctor. So Sunday, I think I mentioned last episode, had been really naughty, really mucking up. And I kind of pushed her in the door one day when she wouldn't stay in a car seat. And I said to Grant, right, she's yours. I can't deal with this. Which is, she's busy and she is independent and a bit bossy, but not naughty. So it didn't kind of make sense. But she did fall over on her bottom when we were doing a bushwalk in the school holidays, and she'd complained. She cried a lot when it happened, and I knew that it really hurt. And my motherly instinct was, well, shit, I hope she hasn't hurt her hip, even though she fell flat on her bottom. I just thought just her cry was different.
Yeah. And the history, of course, with the hips too. It's pretty fresh.
Yeah. So that night, she cried on and off, and I thought, look, it could just be a bruise. I'll watch her for a bit. Then she came good for a few days, and then she fell on it again, and it was sore. And so giving her Panadol, and I knew that I had an appointment coming up at Westmead to have her hips checked. So I knew that I had that up my sleeve, and just a week ago, she was really starting to muck up. She wouldn't sit. And when she was trying to sit, she was sitting on her side. And I thought, no, this isn't right. So I contacted the professor who's looking after her, and I said, look, she's had a fall, as you know. I really think I need to get an X-ray. Went in to have an X-ray. The day that we were supposed to record this podcast, I got the message that she's actually broken her sacrum, which they were most surprised about. Yeah. So originally we thought it must be the tailbone that she's injured, or I thought possibly might be a slight fracture. But she's done such a good job that she has actually displaced her. She's gone through the cartilage at the sacrum point. So,
oh my gosh.
So I've got an X-ray on my phone because the doctor called me and said, look, sit down. You won't be expecting this. And I was pretty shocked. My first thought was, here is another health problem. What is going on this year? This is just insane. Because it was only a week since we announced, that Grant had the heat stroke, and, we'd gone down that path again. And that was only, 2 weeks from my last eye operation. And I was like, just, give us a break. This is ridiculous. But there's nothing that they can do for a broken sacrum.
Oh, really? So what, you just got to literally just keep on going with life now?
She just needs to rest as much as you can, make a 2-year-old rest, which is, ridiculously hard. And if she has pain, then to give her Nurofen and Panadol. And we just need to keep an eye on her bowels and urine passing, because the nerves that come from that particular area correlate to or run to your bladder and bowels, and so they gave us a few things to look out for, and so far she has been, we've had no issues, so we're just waiting, and I took her to Westmead on Friday last week, which was horrendous. Trying to drive to Sydney for 3 hours with a toddler who is in pain with a broken sacrum, having to make her sit in a seat like we had extra foam built up and I had extra padding and it was just too uncomfortable. So we had heaps of stops for her. And when I was about to run late for the appointment, I said to her, no, you have to stay in your seat. Well, she was putting the window down. She was throwing DVDs out the window.
Oh, wow.
Cars coming past. She had chips thrown everywhere through the car. She threw like a toy. It hit me in the back of the head. She was pegging the dummy at me, screaming, like absolutely screaming at the top of her voice. And I was a nervous wreck. And when we reached the bottom of the Blue Mountains, I just pulled into Penrith and I went straight to Baby Bunting and I said to them, please, what car seat do you have that straps kids in really tight, that is super padded? So I ended up having to purchase a brand new car seat.
Oh, wow.
Is a big outlay, but it was definitely I could not cope to get into Westmead and then get her home that night. I had no idea how I would do that. So the poor little thing, I felt so sorry for her, but she was so good at pulling her arms out so they had to change the setup of the seat when she had the brace on. And so it made it easier for her to take her arms out. And she was able to then undo the seatbelt. And she'd be like standing up, I want to hop in the front. And I'm driving, at speed. And it's just my nerves were shot. So,
of course.
So that was like massive.
I know that when you're a mother and things with your kids pop up, you naturally just go and do everything you possibly can to fix the situation. But obviously a broken sacrum was something that was not expected. And plus you've got the announcement of Deal or No Deal. You've got your own, job and life to get on with, and the other two kids who are doing musicals and you're helping out with that. Like, you've got your finger in so many different pies. I like, just a genuine question. How do you continue to rock up and say, do the podcast or do your job? Because a lot of people, including me, sometimes there's days where I wake up and I'm just not feeling it and it feels like a struggle, but let alone for you've actually got things that are going on that are completely out of your control, that are no doubt just, bumps in the road, and yet you still keep going. Like, what's this? Is there a secret, or do you just do it?
No, are you trying to make me cry, George?
Not really. I just want to know. I'm sorry if I am.
I don't know what the secret is, but I just think that when you're a mum, and I've got, you're so good, George.
I apologise because I'm emotional for you too, and I as a friend and as a co-host, I think we all are looking out for each other and are concerned too, and also just applaud you for being a mum.
You know what? It's all mums, I think. Like, I have serious mum guilt about Sunday, and that's, I guess, what the tears are, because as a mum, you always think, when your child's in pain, you want to fix it. And, we didn't find out for 2.5 weeks that she had a, broken sacrum, because it's just so rare and nobody expected that. Even the hospital, they were as shocked as we were. And also, she's a tough little cookie. So she, she was being really naughty and being, I guess, naughty because she's in pain. That's kind of what happens before she, has gotten sick. So I just kept waiting for an illness to hit. But it's hard. It's a real juggle when you're a parent and you have, your own job and you have, your plan for the day or plan for the week, or you've got, work that you go off to, and you have a kid that's sick, and so you have to put things off. It is a juggle. How do you show up each day? I don't know. You have to. You have to do for your kids. So I yeah.
Do you feel like we're in a yeah?
I feel like I get a lot of help, but then I had to lean quite heavily on my mum, which she obviously loves that, but I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate that I live close to my mum, and that I can do that. But after the past couple of weeks, I was thinking I really feel like I need a PA, I need a chef, I need someone to do my washing. And I guess I probably underestimate how much I do, as most mums would. You just get on with it. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and they, I was telling them something about my day, and they were genuinely shocked at how chaotic my work home life balance is. And there is no balance. It's like either all going well, or it's all going to shit, or it's all that's most mums. But I don't have a nanny. Probably should. But
I know a lot of, as we all do, we all know a lot of mums out there. We know a lot of busy people, and I look at your schedule and I hear about your schedule, and I'm not the only one in saying this, that it is absolutely hectic. And I think you and GD are kind of similar in the regard that you both are hard workers and go-getters and like non-stop and really, I guess get what you want. So it can be really great, maybe in the short term, also in the long term, but also there's definitely those moments of burnout along the way. Yeah.
I'm not very good at resting. I don't like resting, but I just in the past couple of weeks have been starting to reassess everything that I do. So we live on a farm. It's a 30-acre farm. I run the farm, so I do the fencing. I do the tending to the animals. I do the upkeep, the maintenance, which if you looked at my place right now, we are a snake haven because I have not had a chance to get out and spray weeds. And that is also grating on me because every time I drive into the farm, I see all the weeds, and that's just, and I'm talking about like, long weeds and also blackberries. So that's
big boppers.
That's one, component of my life. Then I've got, the managing of Grant with Henry, and making sure that his day-to-day stuff is seamless. And that's been very full on. Then I've got my own stuff, the podcast. I've got 3 kids, which I was joking the other day saying 3 kids is 3 too many because they're all different.
I bet it would feel like that sometimes.
They all want to do different things. Your mum would think that too. It's just after school activities, and also I do a lot of charity work, and that's one thing that I haven't been able to do a lot of most recently. I've got a list of 13 things sitting right here. Like I've got a GoFundMe account I'm going to set up for somebody, and I've got a couple of gift vouchers that I've somebody's given me that I want to mail off to somebody who I know is having a terrible time, and so it's like,
are they coming my way or
no
okay, that's
all
right.
You having a terrible time?
Oh no, I'm actually having a really good time, and that was a terrible joke. It goes to somebody who really deserves it.
What's the no, that's not it. Okay,
that's a good joke. Don't play that one.
Yeah. No, so that's sad. But also I get my I feel fulfilled when I get to do really funny videos. So that's my main I don't even know like where I'm going with this, but
like an outlet in a way.
Yeah, I have. I'm highly creative, and I think most people don't realize that. Like I'm either making, making things for the house, out of kitty litter, and like I make things, or I love to make videos, and I've always done that. The producer side in me loves making, especially around motherhood. I just love, when things are really hard and really tough, making it into like a comic relief moment. I just, so that other mums can watch it and go, oh my God, yes, that happens to me. And that's, and I don't get paid for those. I just, that fulfills me. And I haven't had time to do that because I'm, doing everything else for everyone. And that's also on my must-do list, because you have to have things that fulfill you, because that's when you get burnout if you don't.
Yes, very true. And look, I'll just sit here and say thank you for and sometimes for myself and sometimes for GD. Like, I think for anybody in the entertainment realm, and I guess in any industry, but specifically entertainment, there's some days where it's bloody tough to get behind a microphone, get in front of a camera and perform. And, we try to be as real as possible on this podcast. But even I'm sure there's sometimes days where it's you don't want to be real. Like you don't even want to sort of have anything to do with it, if that makes sense. You just sort of want to use this time to chill or relax or try and get your shit together. But it means a lot having you onto the podcast,
Oh, thanks, George. Is that because I kept putting today's podcast record back?
It's good to finally just record the damn thing.
And now we're talking about how hard it was to record. But you know what?
Yeah.
Let me just go through, this weekend, and this is all parents. So parents with kids that are school age and they have activities. Some parents travel for soccer, some for cricket, stuff like that. So my two girls, Sailor, she's quite theatrical and she loves, theatre, and she just really shines when she's on the stage. So she did Beauty and the Beast last year just with a local junior theatrical society who, George, I think you did stuff with them when you were...
I've done stuff with them. They're an incredible company within the central west of New South Wales, and led by incredible talent too. It's a great setup if you want to sort of move on to do greater things. It's really nice. We didn't have, like, I had theatrical societies when I was younger, and I did a lot of them when my parents would let me, because they worked a lot. And then we also had to travel because my sister was very good at sport. So my stuff always got kind of put on the back burner. But, I did some great musicals, Sound of Music, and I can't remember the other one, and Oklahoma, and Annie. And I know how great that feels. And Sailor's got that acting bug and she's very good at it. So she did Beauty and the Beast last year, and then this year they did Singing in the Rain, which musical.
Yeah, fantastic musical. But hard to pull off when you're
for a junior production company too.
Like they're 12 to 17. That's the age group. That's a big musical to pull off. And they had so many kids that wanted to do it this year that they also did Aladdin Juniors for kids up to 11. And so that was, every week they went to their rehearsals, and I encouraged Scout to do Aladdin Junior. She does like performing a little bit, but she is a little bit shy. But about halfway through the year, I was really regretting encouraging her, because it was very hard to get her to rehearsals every week. She just didn't want to do it. She just, I think, compared herself to Sailor a lot, and she would say to me, this is not me. And then again, that mum guilt kicks in, and I was thinking, oh shit, I've made her sign up to something. Is that just because I thought it would be easier if they both went on the same night? Or, but the weekend just gone was the big performance, and there was lots of shows. And the first one, I'm just putting on my do not disturb because I put it on for far too little, and everyone will start calling. Friday they had Saturday they had two shows. Oh my God, I'm going well here. 2 shows. So 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. And the juniors went on for half an hour with their Aladdin, and then the seniors came on for an hour and a half show. And I went in dropping the kids off, just thinking I'm too busy to help out backstage, or, I'll help them get dressed and then I'll head off because I've got Sunday. But when I got there, Scout had said to me, please, Mum, can you please stay and help everyone get dressed? And so, I arranged for my mum to take Sunday, and in I went, and there was all these little faces needing makeup, and I was like, okay, no worries. And I'm doing makeup on, I think I did there's 92 people in the whole, group, and I feel like I did half of their faces, and trying to get little kids to keep still. You're like, keep your lips like this. And there.
Oh, it would have been absolute chaos.
It was. And there's this person's spilt something, or this person's got food in their teeth, and then this person's kissed something, so their lipstick is rubbed off, so they're coming back and they were like, excuse me, can I get some more of the cheek stuff? So it was hectic. It was
the makeup intense, or was it at least a very basic sort of foundation, blush, eyeliner, lipstick?
Yeah, it was pretty basic. But
still, that's a lot, 90 plus faces to do.
Well, there was other people who I can't take, all the credit. There was other people who were doing the makeup and doing a much better job. And I had the shakes real bad, must have been because I'd, driven so long, and it was such a big day the day before going to the hospital. And I was trying to do straight eyeline, and I was like, ooh, keep your eyes still. Okay, don't move. Then someone bumps me and it's like, yeah. So the first lot of makeup that I did was terrible, and I'm sure that they walked out and everyone was like, what the hell has happened to them?
Just blame it on the kids. Kids can't do makeup.
The producer and me, in the break, ran and got Colour Stay lipstick. I went and got a thicker, line. I bought a little carry bag to put the makeup in, and I just jumped in and started helping, and I saw a real difference in Scout. She just had this confidence come out on stage.
Do you reckon it took the makeup and the costumes and everything to bring her alive?
And she said to me, she's like, I really enjoyed this. I'm loving this. And she was owning it. She was having the best time. And there was lots of little kids that were like little wallflowers, and then they got on the stage and I think it clicked. And they just came out of their shells, and it was so beautiful to see. It was really
Can I tell you, Chezzi, for me, I absolutely, with a passion, hate rehearsing for a musical. I hate the entire process of learning lines because I've got a terrible memory. The late nights, the monotonous nature of going over something over and over again. And I get that you have to do that to get to show ready, but it isn't until you get into the theatre, you bump all the set in, you get in front of a crowd and do it, and that's when I go, this is why I do it, for this very moment. So, yeah, I guess the rehearsal process might be a little bit rough, but it really does make it worth it for the ending there. What were the roles that your kids played?
So Scout was I don't even know. She was probably the
smallest. The magic carpet?
No, she was a carpet. So
that's cool.
The way they did it, they had lots of little people playing the carpet, because there was a few that were Scout's really small, right? So she's this, there's 2 or 3 are the smallest out of the whole group. So they got to wear carpets, and they'd run around and dancing, doing their own dance and waving, and she loved that. But then she played like a little beggar in the street, and she also played just a, chorus member and dancer, and she did so well.
Excellent. Well
I felt
done,
like crying when I was watching. I was like, oh my God, her face was all lit up, and all the kids were. It was beautiful. And I'd not been side of stage before, and it is like there was parents there volunteering, I think, that do it every year, and I just gravitate to where, you know, it's super busy, and I think my live TV experience means you just do it. You just get in and you just do it. So I helped out with the first show, and then for the second show in the afternoon, the lady who was, you know, in charge of side of stage, she said she was going to go and watch. So she's like, "You're cool to do all the, you know, all the wrangling," and I was like, what?" She's like, "Yeah, you're right." And I was thinking, yeah, I've not actually been here for a full rehearsal. Yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. And so it was hectic. Oh my God, there was costumes, you know, where's this costume? Where's this one? And then somebody said to me, "Where's the normal person who dresses us?" And I'm like, "She's not here." And it was like, you know, you're trying to do it really quietly. But I loved it. It was like a real thrill to be able to watch them, you know, from that position. And Sailor,
it's incredibly addictive, isn't it?
it is, and I'd forgotten how joyous it is to be in that position. You know, it's been a number of years. I mean, I studied it at university, theatre media. I had to audition to get into it, to that course. So I always thought that acting was going to be, you know, in my future. And then, you know, I decided to get into news and TV, which is very different, and then nursed Grant with the broken back, and then, you know, looked after him all the time. So,
well, you know what? There's the junior production involved in this particular company, but there's also obviously the adults side of this production company. Will we see you in a musical anytime soon? Maria from Sound of Music, or I don't know.
Oh God,
can you sing?
No. I don't think I can sing at all. I can sing Macy Gray on after a couple of drinks on karaoke.
Macy Gray the musical.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody would be coming to watch that. Look, I don't know. I'm very rusty. You know, this is who knows? But the talent in Singing in the Rain, the way it was cast. Those kids, they sang so well, and they were taught tap dancing, and I wish that I could show, you know, everyone. I'm so proud, and I wanted so much to put up some, you know, some complimentary posts for all the crew, and I just didn't have time because I was back in there doing makeup again for everyone.
Yeah.
And then a vomiting bug ripped through the whole cast, the little kids. So there was kids coming off stage saying, "Excuse me, I don't feel very well," and then
mid-performance.
Yeah. So things really escalated, and some of the parents went down, and in the before the final show, one of the little girls fractured her foot. And so the little kids were all crying because she was the genie in Aladdin, and Scout was just beside herself because she had a real soft spot for this little girl. And so I was like, okay, let me have a look at this foot. I remember someone saying, "Are you a doctor?" I was like, "No, but I'm just used to broken bones because I've
got a history. I've got a bit of an idea."
Yeah. And so I had a look, and I'm like, "Oh, that's fractured. That's, you know, yeah." And she's like, "Oh,
so
really?"
Are you saying that they like rehearsed all this time and they only performed over one weekend? Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
that is an incredible effort. Like that, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week, hours upon hours of rehearsals each night, and it all comes down to that weekend and the bloody vomiting bug and broken ankles and all this stuff sort of happens. Bound to happen, right?
It's bound to happen, but it's just, I felt so sorry for them, like, you know, because people were going off sick. But the good thing was that they would come back for the next day. Well, maybe that's not good because they might be still contagious. But they seemed all right.
Came back the next day and infected everybody else.
Yeah, that's right. But they, you know, they drop off for the first performance, but they were able to make the last performance, or, you know, they didn't miss out altogether. But the little girl with the fractured foot, I ended up, producer and me, I was like, she needs a moon boot. She wanted to perform, so we got a moon boot and put it on her, and she did the performance. And then I took her up to hospital last night just to, try and get an X-ray while her mum was directing the final show. Even though her mum was like, "No, I need to come," I was like, "No, no one can fill in for you. You're directing the whole thing, please.
You're the person."
So and Scout was like, "Yeah, we'll take you to the hospital," because she's found her new best friend. So it was just a really busy, full on weekend, and I was so proud of seeing them all and seeing how
I bet.
yeah, and all the parents chipping in and making the props, and yeah, it's just beautiful. So, but yeah, it hasn't helped me today because the kids were so tired to go to school. And I was like, well, that's fine. I need to record a podcast today because poor George has been waiting since Thursday to have this podcast recorded.
I've literally been sitting in this seat ever since last Tuesday, waiting for you to jump onto this call. But no, it's good that we're back into it. Does the psychic in you, because we know you've got a bit of intuition, you do have feelings and vibes of certain situations. Does the inner psychic say, you know what, this is better health is to come in 2024?
Yeah.
That's good.
I have been doing a lot of. Well, see, I lost a lot of my. Well, I feel like I lost a lot of my skills, or my abilities to be psychic and to see things. And I mean, I didn't really understand it, but I just knew that I was at a point where it was. I was able to tap into it or tune into it like a lot easier before India, and that happened. And I've been trying to get it back, but I'm doing a diploma in mediumship, which is an 8-month course with the medium school, and we had Rory on here. But I, for whatever reason, have missed my 2 tests for the past 2 months. So the first one that I missed was because I had to have an eye operation and I couldn't see.
Jizz eye, yep.
Jizz eye, yep. Couldn't change that. And the second one was last Friday when I had to take Sunday down to Westmead. So I missed both of those for reasons out of my control. So I reached out to, do you remember the episode you weren't on, but Tony Riley, Dr. Tony Riley, we spoke about past lives.
I do. Past lives. Yeah, very interesting episode.
So I spoke to her and I explained the situation, and she and I are going to do a healing session. I don't even know what that involves, but an energy healing session on Friday this week, so that I can try and get those skills back and those, I don't know, what do you call it? Because we all have it apparently.
Yeah, it's just like intuition, like a gut feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, I still do have occasionally gut feelings, but like, say for instance, so today when we were recording, I saw someone, or the outline of someone, which happens a lot to me, but I don't trust it. I guess that's the difference. I saw an outline to your left, which says to me that there's a spirit who is known to be protecting you, who I don't know, I guess popped up in my vision. So they wanted me to mention them, or wanted me to talk about them, or but
they're protecting me, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. I like that. I love protection.
Have you felt any like I don't know, tingling or weirdness in your headphones or on your shoulder or anything during this episode?
Not that I can think of, but I don't know. There definitely could have been. Wow.
was on your left side.
So like this side or this side?
No, so on your, because I'm looking at you. Yeah, so,
And you saw the outline of a figure.
yeah. So
Oh
the
my
best that I can describe it as is, on a hot day when you look down a road and you see like the kind of like the air is hot and it's kind of a bit wavy, kind of is like that, but it is a bit fleeting and it's not a perfect outline. I don't know what other people see, but I just occasionally will see things like
Wow.
that.
Are they protecting me from anything in particular, do you reckon? Or just everyday life?
I just think that it's possibly one of your ancestors, maybe, or and there probably is more than one, but for some reason that one stood out. So I always feel that on my left side is feminine energy, and on my right side, for some reason, I always think it's male energy. So to me,
That's
it would
interesting.
be like a great grandmother or auntie or somebody, a female. Do you have anyone that?
I was only thinking, you know what? I was only thinking of my great grandma today before the podcast,
Yep,
which is quite interesting.
that's who it is.
Yeah,
Why
I
are
was
you
just
about him?
thinking. I don't know why, but I used to have to choose every Thursday afternoon. I used to do choir practice, and that was when my mum, sister, and brother would go and visit my great grandma, right? So I'd always go and visit her while I was doing choir, and then they'd pick me up from choir, and then we'd head home. But I was only thinking today how if I hadn't have done choir, I would have been able to go and visit her and see her a lot more because I didn't really get to see her as much as my brother and sister. So I was randomly just thinking that this morning. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm really not in tune enough, but I feel like if I closed my eyes. All right, let's do it. Let me see if I can work out if it was her. Yeah, so I can sort of see the outline again. I'm closing my eyes now, trying to hold hands with her. I can sort of see her just putting her hand on your shoulder and saying, everything is as it's supposed to be, and she doesn't want you to feel that way. She doesn't regret a moment. She always wanted the best for you. And she's so, so proud of everything that you've achieved. Were you her favorite?
Yeah, potentially. I think so.
Did she used to rub you on the head? Like do like
She was a very cheeky, very playful with us kids. So yeah, there definitely would have been moments where there was that physical touch for sure.
Are you the first like great grandchild or great like are you?
Yeah, I am the first. Yep.
And there's a big gap between you and your between you and then your sister Poppy came along, didn't she?
Yeah, so there's about 4 years between Poppy and I.
Are you named after your grandfather, or is there like are you
So I'm just trying to I named after this is terrible. I'm trying to
middle
think of
name?
my very own.
I can hear my kids in the background like screaming out, fighting. So I'm trying to not be distracted. And as I said, I'm not very
That's fine.
good at this, but just something.
No, so my brother Gus was named after my great grandma's husband Gus. So her husband was Gus, and Mum and Dad named my brother Gus after him. So there's that connection for sure.
Is there a Harry, or is there someone?
Harry. I mean, rings a bell.
You weren't going to be called Harry.
Harry.
Your middle name's not Harry. So
No,
this is why I need to go to
Harry.
class, because I don't really understand.
Yeah. That's pretty. When you said great grandma, I thought that was quite interesting because I was only thinking about her a few hours ago, which is very, very crazy.
She
Oh well,
like
if she can hear me right now, I love you. I miss you.
I think she
Hey?
can. Oh, she definitely can hear you. Did she like dancing?
I think when she was
Or is it
younger,
like
absolutely.
like, I don't know. I'm seeing like little, kind of funny move. Was she small?
She was quite small, but was still quite active for her age. Yeah.
And did you remind her of, or did she ever say that you reminded her of her husband, or were you like there's some connection with you and your great grandfather?
Yeah, right. Well, you're saying things that feel familiar, like
Right.
that kind of concept, that idea sounds very familiar. So she passed away when I would have been early high school. So my recollection isn't too great, but that what you just said is very familiar. So I feel like that has been a conversation at some point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
okay. Well, I don't know why, but I feel like she appeared today because you thought about her or vice versa, and she wanted, I don't know, me to tell you that she doesn't want you to beat yourself up about that because she's with you all the time and she's so proud of you. And that she always knew that you were going to be a real shining star. And that she had a real soft spot for you. Sorry to your brother and sister, but I feel like maybe you were her favorite, because you I don't know, came along, you were the first one, and you just reminded her of someone. I don't know who Harry is, or there's something, I don't know, or whether there's somebody else who's trying to talk called Harry.
So sweet.
Yeah.
I'm going to look into the Harry thing, but that's super comforting. I used to go to the home that she ended up in and, perform and do magic tricks for all of her friends and, keep them company towards the end there. So, no, that's, isn't that funny?
I'm hearing now. He's so handsome. He's just so handsome.
I got that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe my skills are still there. I just need to trust myself a bit more. I guess that's.
I have no doubt. Whatsoever. That's very cool. That's such a cool skill you've got there.
Apparently, we all have it. I'm probably just. This is how I think of it. I'm probably just crazy enough that if people say, "Hey, you're so crazy," because you think that I just would shrug it off. Whereas other people might be a bit scared to speak about it. But
well, this reminds me, we should probably get Flavia onto the show to do like our yearly predictions.
We so should. Yeah. Okay, done.
And maybe if she can collectively do something for the listeners as well. Like, do you reckon there's a very generic? I don't know how you would do that, but whether there'd be anything in it for the listeners as well to know how their future is. Or does she do things on a global scale? Does she know what's happening in the world?
I have no idea. I don't know. We could always ask her. Or why don't we give away? Why don't we? This is probably an off-air chat, George, that we're doing.
This is a production meeting we're doing right now.
welcome to Behind the Scenes. We should give away a reading with Flavia.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Oh, what do they have to do to get the reading with her? Something wild? Something crazy?
No idea. Yeah, we should do.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. I'll think about it a little bit more. And we will. Yeah, because we did the review, leave a review, and then there was lots of people saying we can't leave a review because we listen to Spotify or we watch it on YouTube or, so we need to give something that everyone can do, whether they watch it on YouTube or listen on different platforms. So maybe we get them to bombard someone's social media saying something like the It's All True podcast is the best. And then they have to take a screenshot and
something that will benefit us.
Like just go to
and then you in return.
Yeah, and then we'll give you a reading with Flavia. That could be a bit of fun.
Maybe fan art, your It's All True fan art. Do caricatures of us or do some kind of fan fiction art of the It's All True crew.
Yes, that would be good. That'd be cool. I can't remember what else we had, but I feel like
look, I think it was basically just a bit of an update on how we're both going. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable and honest, and very exciting. GD's back on the TV.
I know. Woohoo! Yeah. Can't wait. Can't wait to have him back on the TV. He's the best TV host. I know I keep saying that, but I've worked with a lot of them. And yeah, as a producer who has worked with pretty much most of the big names in Australian TV at the moment, I feel I have a fairly good read on who is a natural and who is not natural. And there are a number of people who are on our screens for various reasons. And they are not all talented and they're not all nice. A lot of them aren't humble. And,
a lot of them are terrible people.
I feel that Grant is very unique. So
he is one of a kind.
Yeah, it's taken him a while to find the right vehicle to drag him back, but I'd like to see him hosting some other big shows as well. Deal or No Deal, and can't even think anything else. All right,
just all of the game shows, Spicks and Specs, The Chase, Hot Seat.
Well, he's still working on his own shows, and they are all in the mix. So he could pop up on the ABC doing something very soon. He could pop up on, I don't know, something else. And then someone was saying the other day that there's a show in the UK where a husband and wife do like a live podcast. It's a TV show. It's on late at night. Cool. And so there was some consideration about that. However, I did say that I would not go back in front of the camera after seeing The Amazing Race and what
that experience, I guess.
Yeah, I thought that I was much more comfortable
behind the
scenes, but who knows? Who knows where we'll pop up?
It's all exciting. Watch this space. Keep locked on to the podcast. Leave ratings and reviews. Our last one was 2 months ago. We need more.
Please leave a rating and review for this week. That'd be awesome.
And hey, what's coming up on the show next week?
You'll have to wait. What is coming up?
We have no fucking idea.
We just roll with the punches. No, I'll have something really exciting lined up for next week. I have no idea what it is, but it will be exciting.
We're just lying right now. We actually do know what it is, and we're playing it down because it's actually really, really huge.
So true. So true.
Unlike that statement. Anyway, good chatting. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
See ya. Be true.
Be true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Chezzi Denya.
Bye bye.